I don't need an alarm clock, a nutritionist, or a personal trainer. In 5 minutes, I cover the route between my daughter's nursery and my son's kindergarten. Then, I sprint to the tram stop. It takes me half an hour to get to work. Yet, this is my favorite moment of the day. Why? Because I can finally listen to music alone. Zuza, the mother of a 3-year-old daughter and a 1.5-year-old daughter, tells me about the life of a working mother in the big city. My life is one big race against time. If someone does not have grandparents, they must organize themselves as much as possible. And although after 17, I dream of a bed, I see only the advantages of returning to work. Many young mothers appreciate the time they spend at the company. I remember maternity leave like through a fog. It was a roller coaster. I envied my neighbors, who went to work to paint every morning. But, paradoxically, now that I combine work with childcare, I have more time for myself, notes Joanna, mother of 5-year-old and 2-year-old twins. I'm lucky enough to work remotely. It would be hard otherwise. The loan will not pay itself off. Just like the son, he will not return alone from the nursery 20 kilometers away from home. Marta praises her employer. Imagine being out of the labor market for 2 or 3 years. That pre-pregnancy girl is no more. The free time you had is gone. It was filled with night feedings, changing diapers, laundry, and preparing meals. You can't count on grandparents. The husband comes home after 6 p.m. You are with the child 24 hours a day, Zuza, an employee of a large corporation, tells me. After returning to the office, I felt fully female again. She gave birth to her first child in 2019. She became pregnant with her second child after her maternity leave. We always wanted 2 children. I knew that returning to work after 3 years would be a massive professional challenge. I was afraid I wouldn't be as adept at my duties as I used to be. A young mother talks about her fears. Zuza has always been very well organized. This advantage is reflected in the daily life of a family of 4. She is responsible for dropping off and picking up children from the facilities. Every evening, when the children are sleeping, she prepares clothes for them and herself for the next day. I also prepare breakfast for myself for work. Thanks to this, children can sleep a little longer in the morning. I get up at 6:20 and wake the kids up at 7. After feeding them, I immediately dress them, and we leave. I don't need an alarm clock, a nutritionist, or a personal trainer. In 5 minutes, I cover the route between my daughter's nursery and my son's kindergarten. Then, I sprint to the tram stop. My life is one big race against time. If someone does not have grandparents, they must organize themselves as much as possible. My interlocutor adds. Finally, at 7:48, Zuza goes to work. This is my favorite moment of the day. Why? Because I can finally listen to music alone. And although after 17, I dream of a bed, I see only the advantages of returning to work. He speaks honestly. I missed work, the office, and contact with people. Recently, I even heard a compliment from an employee from a neighboring department. She said I always look classy. I laughed because until 3 months ago, I was chasing children around the house in leggings. Now I wear makeup every day. I wear high heels, dresses, and suits. In fact, it wasn't until I got back to the office that I felt entirely female again. At 16, she is a full-time mom again. After picking up the children from the institutions, she reheats their lunch and cooks the next one. My husband comes home after 5 p.m., sometimes later. Of course, I'm tired, but I'm not the only one. Every working mom knows that feeling when you're exhausted in the evening, and your baby comes to cuddle with you. This is my second favorite moment of the day, says Zuza. Right after this moment of solitude on the way to work, because, like everyone else, I also need a moment of peace, he adds. The monotony of the day was killing me. Peace is a word missing for a year in the life of Joanna from Lublin. The 33-year-old is the mother of 5-year-old and 2-year-old twin girls. The second parental leave gave her a hard time. I remember maternity leave like through a fog. It was a roller coaster. I envied my neighbors, who went to work to paint every morning. And I spent half a year in pajamas. Even though my older son helped me care for the girls, he is still a child. And sometimes they had colic, and sometimes they had teeth, and sometimes they spit food or threw toys. It was space. I couldn't get out of their sight for even a second. The monotony of the day was killing me, says the young mother. She decided to return to work when the twins turned 1 year old. They got into the nursery, so the young mother could breathe a sigh of relief. Before her pregnancy, Joanna led a team of analysts. She needed to include numbers, charts, and tables. She agreed with her husband that she would take the children to the facilities, and he would pick them up. I get up at 5:30. The older son is already independent, so he helps me dress the girls. About 7 children are already in nursery and kindergarten. I travel to work in 25 minutes by car. I would travel 45 minutes by public transport. Joanna sums up her morning for me. Do you miss your children at work? I don't even have time to think about it. There are so many things to do. So many projects started only after my return. It's nice that the boss was waiting for me. I feel appreciated. There is no question of the monotony that I felt locked in the house with 3 children. I prefer this to a maternity roller coaster. I can grow, so I'm happy, says the young mother. She also needs help to count on her parents and in-laws. They live far away and rarely see their grandchildren. The problem arises when one of the children gets sick. Then I ask a neighbor for help to look after the children when I go to the doctor with one. Fortunately, this situation only happened once, and my neighbor did not disappoint me. He is a very empathetic man who already has adult children. She knows what it's like to be a working mom in a big city. Joanna sees one more positive change in her life. Paradoxically, I have more time now that I combine work with childcare. I am more effective at work because I maximize my time away from home. I managed to go out twice after work for a coffee with a friend because there were extra activities in the nursery, which my daughters love. It's nice to feel that old Joanna, without 3 children by her leg, my interlocutor smiles. I cut the umbilical cord, thanks to which I regained a piece of myself. I could write a PhD thesis on how a child is attached to your leg. Marta from Krakow, mother of a stubborn only child, tells me. She, too, was looking forward to returning to work after maternity leave. Instead, her son has been attending the nursery for 6 months. Although Marta has terrible memories of the beginnings of the adaptation in the Krakow facility. I feed him and put him to sleep every day. My husband comes home after 6 p.m., so most household chores fall on me. I was worried that my son would not be able to cope without me in the nursery. I was afraid of this separation. I knew stress wouldn't help me at work, either. I've been out of circulation for 1.5 years. It's an abyss in the industry I work in, says the 30-year-old. The matter was not made more accessible because the son did not get into the nursery in the estate, so Marta enrolled him in a private facility 20 kilometers away from her home. How did the young parents deal with these difficulties? Marty's employer played a key role. I immediately told my supervisor about my problems. As a result, the Human Resources Officer informed me that I could return to work part-time as a nursing mother. I was delighted with her proposal. For a young mother, this solution is a hit. I'm lucky enough to work remotely. Thanks to this, my husband takes his son to the nursery at 9 a.m., and I pick him up at 3 p.m. I save time commuting to the company, which is located on the other side of the city. I don't have to take sick leave when I'm sick. I work from home without risking infecting my coworkers. I can't count how many advantages the possibility of working remotely gives me. It would be hard otherwise. Unfortunately, the loan will not pay itself off. Like the son, he will not return alone from the nursery 20 kilometers away from home, my interlocutor notices. If not for the positive attitude of the employer, Marta would not be able to bear separation from her child, which would undoubtedly translate it into her efficiency at work. 6 months have passed, and I see a giant developmental leap in my son. He quickly falls asleep alone in the nursery. He learned to use cutlery. He became more friendly and open to other children. He's more independent. He doesn't follow me to the bathroom anymore. I am proud of him that he found himself in a new situation so well. A young mother praises her child, who also sees changes in herself. I cut the umbilical cord, and I regained a piece of myself. I love my child and love spending time with him, but I missed professional challenges. Some women fully fulfill themselves as mothers. I need a job to be completely happy, working mom says.